Next is D3, and D3 is a modified block, which means we go to the booklet in the kit, and we have the modification here is just divides this up into 4 equal sections so that it's easier to deal with. So this is a 4.5-inch square. That's one piece, and then we're gonna put these 4 together and then applique them on. So I'm gonna baste my 4.5-inch square, obviously. For these, the basting is a little tricky but straightforward. I'm gonna baste these and these first, and then when I go to baste this inside curve, I'm gonna notch 1, maybe 2, I'm not sure exactly, almost to the paper so that I can fold this over and get a nice crisp edge right on the edge of this paper. So let me get these basted and then we can start assembly. So I basted each one of these corners, and when I went to see how many notches I needed for this, this is a decently sharp curve. So the sharper the curve, the more notches you want. So I did 2 notches, and that seems to be a good amount. If you do 1, it's not gonna pull it as tight. So I'm gonna finish up doing the basting on the rest of these. So I've got these pieces basted, and it might be, you might have a tendency to maybe try to put these backwards. The smaller side is going to be the inside. You can refer back to the picture in the pamphlet, but a couple of times I laid these out and I'm like, well, that's not going to work. And you're not going to get the right angle if you do that, because that's not a 90-degree angle. So make sure that you're using the correct sections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair these up and stitch them together, and then stitch the pairs together to make the cross. So I've got my X assembled, and I used the colored thread that the fabric is because I wanted it to hide as best as possible. Next thing is to take my 4.5-inch square, and I took a white mechanical pencil because it's black fabric, and I drew an X on it. I tried to be as light as possible because I have to erase most of it, well, some of it. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and this point right here, ignore this tag underneath it because you're going to tuck that under. So this point right here, you're going to put right on the line. And if you don't know how far down, you can come back over into this one and put that one on the line. So it'll automatically center itself as you rotate and hold it, in theory. So, and then I'm going to take my stapler and staple it down on all 4 corners so that I can applique it more accurately. So let me get this tacked down. So I've got this tacked down with my staples. Next, I'm gonna applique this down. I'm gonna use black thread. I'm gonna make sure that I get right under the edge and my needle's on the fold here, so that it tries to hide as best as possible. As I go around, I will take my stiletto and tuck this under, but I will stitch one side first before I cram it under there, but that way it'll lay nice and flat. So I finished appliquing the X onto my background square, and I removed my staples, and now my D3 block has been completed.